Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everybody to today's Bolide Technology webinar about our newest HD video solution, our Angelo HD line. I'm very excited to be here. I am Stephen Jonathan Frias with you. With me as well is Kenneth Miguel, our sales manager. How are you doing today, Ken?
I'm doing good, Stephen. I hope everybody's doing well. We're excited about today's webinar about our latest HD CCTV solution, the Angelo HD.
Right on. I am too as well. And also, Michael Lugo, our technician, is also here with us. How are you doing, Mike?
Doing great, Stephen. Thank you for asking.
Excellent. Well, we're about to kick this off. I'm going to be asking any questions periodically after the sections that we go over. At the very end, we'll do a final overview of any questions you may have lingering as well. I'll go ahead and hand this over to Ken.
So today is all about high definition, HD, Angelo HD. We'll go over several questions. What is Angelo HD? A background of the technology behind this new camera line, the advantages and benefits of using our Angelo HD over Coax line, over traditional analog, IP, and other HD platforms. Of course, we're going over our Angelo HD camera series, our high definition DVRs, the software, online browsing, as well as our Angelo HD complete camera kit selection. Again, I'm very excited about this. This is our hottest selling product line ever since it got launched. Now let's start. So first of all, what is Angelo HD? Angelo HD is Bolide's latest HD over coax video surveillance solution. This line utilizes AHD platform, stands for analog high definition. Little background, this chipset technology was founded by a Korean chipset manufacturer, Nextchip. Okay, this uses a CMOS and ISP image sensor setup that uses a progressive scan while forming a signal and division of brightness and color components of an analog signal. And it allows elimination of blur, blinking, and overall improved color reproduction, meaning you get 720p at the same cost of an analog camera system. Let's look at the advantages and benefits to Angelo HD. Like I mentioned, it's HD over coax, so you get 720p HD video over traditional coaxial cable runs. Analog only goes up to a 960h recording resolution. Now we're going to HD, 720p. No distance limitations. Just like analog, you can run this camera line up to 1,500 feet over coaxial. In comparison to HD SDI, they only go up to 300 feet. You may also use UTV cables, go up to 492 feet, and it works with certain video valence. No delays and latency. In comparison to IP cameras take video, compresses it on the front end, the camera end, and transfers the data over a network, which is bandwidth. Meanwhile, on the NVR or server side, it again decodes it back to video and compresses it. So this whole process might cause delays in the recorded video or transmission of data, such as PTZ control. With Angelo HD, you're avoiding this because just like analog, Angelo HD cameras take the video, sends it over the coax as uncompressed composite video signal. On the DVR end, that's where the compression happens. Compresses it H.264 and records it into hard drive. So there's no delays on the video recording, no delays on PTZ control. Also, backwards compatibility. This is huge. Our Angelo HD DVRs may be integrated with new or existing analog cameras. This makes it perfect for upgrading older analog camera systems to HD while allowing you to keep certain cameras. For example, PTZs. They're pretty expensive to replace. If you have two PTZs in a system and 14 fixed cameras, you can replace the 14 cameras with HD and keep your two PTZs. And of course, low cost. This HD surveillance solution will cost you as much as you would installing a traditional analog camera system. And we talk about cost, it also has low maintenance in comparison to IP cameras. IP cameras require you to pay license fees to use software. Also, you need to maintain the network that will handle the bandwidth of the cameras. In this case, none of that. There's no license fees. There's no network maintenance. Just like an analog system, the cameras ran via coax cables plugged into the DVRs, and the DVRs record in HD. The last generation of analog cameras that came out are recorded in 960H resolution. Okay, this new line records in 720p, and we want to show you the difference. Okay, on this illustration, you see 960H, and you see a difference in picture size that the 720p cameras record at. Let's show the video, Mike. So this is a comparison between HD over coax and our past analog camera lines. This is an Angelo HD camera. Compared to a 960H recorded video. See a picture of Angelo HD compared to our last generation of analog cameras, the Raphael 1100 TV lines. And now you see here our 800 TV line Tiger Eye Plus line. Next, we'll see a side-by-side comparison of every line. This is an analog camera, the Raphael. And this is Angelo HD. So there you go. Again, I want to look at a side-by-side comparison. These are screenshots taken with an analog camera in our Angelo HD 720p. You can see on the analog picture, the aspect ratio is a little bit off. The picture is a bit stretched out. You also see lots of detail on some objects, especially the farther ones. Also, you see the colors are a little bit inaccurate, and the video is a bit washed out by the external lighting. In comparison, the Angelo HD displays a correct and accurate aspect ratio. Objects are what they look like in real life. You also see crisp details, as you can tell by the text on this poster, the pictures, and also has more accurate color reproduction. So it's just a huge difference in video quality, and to think you're paying as much as you would for an analog camera system. Okay, so let's look at the cameras. So we have a full line of Angelo HD cameras. First, let's look at our fixed eyeball camera, our BC1109 iRod AH. This has a 1/4 inch, 1 megapixel CMOS set, up to 720p resolution. It's got a 3.6 millimeter fixed lens, a 24 IR LED setup up to 65 feet. This IP66 rated housing can be installed both indoors and outdoors. If you like bullet cameras, we also have a fixed lens bullet. Same chip, same resolution, 3.6 millimeter fixed lens. Also has the same IR setup, 24 up to 65 feet. And it may also be installed both indoors and outdoors. This line also comes in varifocal lenses. This is a varifocal eyeball camera. Same chip setup, same 720p resolution, but it's got a 2.8 to 12 millimeter varifocal lens, a stronger IR setup, 36 LEDs up to 100 feet, and it's also IP66 for outdoor installations. We have a nice bullet camera here. Same varifocal lens size. It's got 24 IR LED setup up to 130 feet. It's also got a weatherproof rated housing. Another is a varifocal dome camera. It's got the same IR setup, 720p resolution, 2.8 to 12 millimeter lens.
Now I'd like to ask, are there any questions so far going over the camera line or anything else that we discussed so far?
Feel free to type in your questions and we'll be answering them.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and move on.
So let's move on to the DVRs. We have a few lines for AHD DVRs. We have our SVR 9000 AHD line, and we have a SVR 9000S AHD line. And let's see the comparison between the two. We have a question here from Dave. Which models, if any, have true wide dynamic range?
Part of the AHD series has a true wide dynamic built into every camera. So you don't have the option to turn it on and off, but every AHD camera does have it built in.
Anything else?
So moving on. So let's talk about the SVR 9000 AHD series. This line comes in a 4-channel model, 8-channel, and a 16-channel model. Notable features is a recording resolution. Of course, you can do up to 720p resolution at 15 frames per second per channel. You may use analog cameras for this DVR, and they'll record at 960H at 30 frames per second. It's also got alarm inputs and outputs. The 4-channel has 4 alarm inputs, as well as the 16-channel, and the 8-channel has an 8-channel alarm input. As far as hard drive space, each model has 1 hard drive bay, up to 4 terabyte hard drive per bay. Video outputs, it's got a VGA output. It's got an HDMI output for 1080p viewing. It's also got an IR extender. Mike, let's talk about what is the IR extender?
So the IR extender is going to allow you to have your DVR in a remote location, meaning like the attic or somewhere where you don't have access to use your controller. The IR extender will allow you to extend the IR 50 feet and still be able to use the remote to access your DVR.
And we have a 50-foot IR extender cable available for purchase. Another huge feature that we added to this DVR line is the Esata port.
So the Esata port is going to allow you to back up more video than just the traditional thumb drive. The Esata port is not, unfortunately, for main recording, but it will allow you to do a lot more backup than normal.
And another huge feature that we kept for this line is the Bolide Quick Connect. Let's talk about the SPR 9000S HD series. This series comes only in a 16-channel model. Main difference between this and the other line is this actually does 720p recording resolution at 30 frames per second per channel. It will do 960H as well at 30 frames if you use analog cameras. This model has 2 SATA hard drive bays. You can do up to 4 terabyte each, making it a total of maximum 8 terabyte hard drives per DVR. It's got a VGA output, HDMI output, the IR extender, Esata port, and of course the Bolide Quick Connect. You have a question? So what is Bolide Quick Connect? Great question. Bolide Quick Connect is the easiest way to connect your DVR for remote viewing.
So it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. You can go to your respective phone or tablet store, being Google Play or the App Store. Download the app, which is Bolide DVR. That's step 1. Step 2, scan the QR code over the DVR. And step 3, get ready to stream. Like I said, it's easy as 1, 2, 3.
What does that mean for the dealer? No port forwarding required. So where do you find this QR code? So you see this image of the unit. You can see on the lower left hand corner the QR code and device ID. So you take your phone, you download our free app, and you're good to go. So the Bolide DVR, free. Again, like Mike mentioned, available for iOS and Android devices. It's got a lot of cool features that you get for free. Mike, let's talk about this a little bit.
So you can see here we have our 5 main displays. Now the main menu is where you'll be able to navigate through the app. Now let me say this is probably the easiest application to use in terms of navigating with a DVR. And the live view allows you to have multiple DVRs and multiple channels together on one place. The playback is easiest on the market. You select your calendar, date, and camera, and a timeline appears, and you can play back from the actual DVR, or you can also record to your phone via the app. And your device list, like I said before, you can have multiple DVRs all in one place, and you would select that from your channel list. And like I said before, you can have multiple channels on one display.
So that's the app. Let's look at the physical features of this DVR unit. So as you can see here, the QR code for the Quick Connect. Here's a QR code that you scan. Underneath is device ID. We'll go with that in a little bit. On the front, you have a USB port for your mouse or your thumb drive for backup. You see here the video menu controls. You see indicator lights on the front. So green light comes on if DVR is powered, and a red light comes on, meaning the hard drive is processing or recording. Here's an image of the back of this DVR. Like we said, it's got an Esata port. Over here, see the BNC inputs. This is a 16-channel model. You have your audio inputs. You have an audio output. You have an HDMI output, your VGA output, Ethernet port, RS-485 port, and your alarm inputs and outputs. You have another USB port on the back for either the mouse or a thumb drive. And here is the IR extender port. Again, if you want to hide this DVR in an attic or a closet and run an IR extender next to your monitor and use a remote, you can do so. Now we talked about backwards compatibility. Again, this DVR will work with traditional analog cameras. We will show you what we call port blocking to be able to utilize all the ports of this DVR. Mike?
So port blocking means that when you connect traditional analog cameras with the AHD cameras, you have to go in ports of one even and one odd. And what I mean by that is, as you can see in the diagram, channel 1 and 2 are AHD cameras. Channel 3 and 4 are analog cameras. Channel 5 and 6 are AHD cameras, and channel 7 and 8 are analog cameras. So they're in twos, one even and one odd channel. You can have that in many different configurations. Let's say you have 14 AHD cameras. You can have 2 analog cameras, and you can reverse that. You can have 14 analog cameras with 2 AHD cameras, and different configurations as long as they are in blocks of 2 and 1 even and 1 odd number.
Now let's go over the menu of the DVR. This DVR has a very simple, straightforward GUI. Over here you see the main menu. Every task is simple. You have your display controls, record search, alarm settings, system settings, record search, your network settings, your device settings, and advanced settings. So, for example, you want to see, do your display settings. You click on display. You see here different views. You have a sequence view. And you can see here on the right, you can choose up to 1080p resolution via HDMI cables. You may also adjust the transparency of the actual menu. For record settings, go to main menu and click on record. You see different tabs. Go to mainstream, and you see here on the square resolution, you can do up to 720p resolution for every channel and 15 frames per second per channel. And then this is variable. For example, you want to lower your frames per second or lower your resolution to save hard drive space, you can do so. You also have audio. You can enable or disable audio recording. Schedule record. You can set this DVR to record in either 24/7 recording, motion detection, or alarm. Mike, go over the schedule record.
Sure. So as you can see there, there's a green bar going across the 24-hour time period. All you would have to do to record motion was eliminate that top line, and the middle line would be motion, and highlight that all yellow. And then at the bottom, you can see where it says copy. You can copy from Sunday to every day of the week, and channel 1 to every day of the week. That way you don't have to go and do each camera and each day individually. You can do them all at one time. Very simple.
So that's the GUI interface. Before we move on to client software, should we answer some questions?
Yeah, it looks like we have a few questions here. I'll start off with a few that I jotted down so far. They asked the question, will this webinar be available? Yes, we'll put this on our YouTube channel once we are finished posting this. Another question we had was, can there be multiple PTZs put on a DVR at one time? Do you want to go over, once again, the blocking on the analog, Mike?
Sure. You can have multiple DVRs on multiple PTZs on one DVR. They all connect to the RS-45 just like you would any regular DVR. It's the same.
So if you only have one PTZ, you can add that camera, but you will disable the other analog port.
Yeah, correct.
So you can use one, but you're disabling one port in the DVR.
Also got asked about 1080p. Yes, we're looking at that to be available in the fall.
Yeah, later on this year we'll have a 1080p line. But again, the 1080p HD over Coax will run you about the same cost as an IP camera. So where this makes sense, you're getting 720p with the Angelo HD. I mean, at the cost of, a low-end analog camera.
We also got a question asked, what's the default storage space for 9000 HD? We leave that pretty much open for you to decide which hard drive you'd like us to install before we ship it out, or you can install your own hard drive.
So look at availability at the distributors in your area. There's some that stock the DVRs with 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, and like we mentioned, it's up to 4. But yeah, you can request it.
And we also got a question about the IR extender cable for the DVR. The part number for that is BE-IR-cable. We also got some more questions about Bolide Quick Connect. I think we went over that, Mike. That's just our easiest, fastest way of connecting to our mobile devices using that QR code. And I also got another question about the DVR. Ask about the biggest difference between our last DVR line and our new DVR line. Is the biggest difference the processor, Mike?
Yes, it is. It's the processor that allows you to have HD over analog. That is the main difference in the DVRs.
I think he meant the DVR, the two DVR lines. So yes, the processor, the SAHD model has a more powerful processor, and that's the reason why I can record 30 frames, 720p per channel. Also, it's got 2 hard drive bays up to 4 terabyte each, so you have total of 8 compared to the AHD model, which only has 1 bay. You can do max 4 terabyte.
Okay, it looks like we got next one is, will it work with remote desktop computers?
Yes, that will be our next section. It does work with all browsers and computers, so PCs and Macs.
And it looks like, Ken, I guess I'll throw it to you. It looks like the question was about SDI.
So this is not HD SDI. This is a better. It's AHD. HD SDI is an older technology. As far as surveillance is concerned, you're limited to 300 feet distance via coax. You typically need a better quality coax cable. AHD does not require you to get the highest quality coax cable. And SDI videos eat up more storage. If you need to use PTZs, you would need additional equipment to do so. And this Angelo HD, you don't need any extra equipment.
And with our app, yes, it is compatible with all our DVR lines. That's why it's simply on the App Store, simply just Bolide DVR.
Yes. So, for example, you have already used an older Bolide DVR. You can use the same app, and you can add both AHD and 960H on the same app.
And we also got another question about the USB. Mike, I'm going to let you answer this. Are they powered, and can they use USB 3.0?
So are they powered? Yes, it's standard 5 volt. max out of them. And USB 3.0, you can use a 3.0 device. You're just not going to get the 3.0 speed. You'll get normal USB transfer.
Okay, next question. Can you do one analog PTZ or do you have to do analog in pairs?
You can do one analog PTZ, but you're disabling the port that it's supposed to be blocked with.
Will the monitoring software for Mac now accept the Quick Connect ID numbers?
We are still looking into getting that available, but it does work fine with the IP address. It works the same as it would with the ID number. But yeah, we are looking into getting that corrected.
Okay, so let's move on to the next section, our client software. So every DVR has a disk which contains the client software. So what can you do with this client software, Mike?
Also, with the client software, which is called Surveillance Client, you can do a handful of things. You can have multiple, just like the app, multiple DVRs connected in at one spot and viewed at the same time, up to 16 displays. It allows you to have recording on your actual PC as a sort of backup to the DVR. And it also allows you to have different setups in the display of the live view, meaning 2 from one DVR, 2 from another. As you can see on the picture, multiple DVRs that are there and different pictures from different DVRs.
So like Mike said, this is a screenshot of the live view screen of our client software. Here you have your device list. These are the multiple DVRs that are connected. And you can actually open up every channel of every DVR, and you can pick and choose which channels you want to see from however many DVRs you have in your network. That's pretty cool. To add a device, it's very easy. So you go to Add Device, you click on the Add Device button, and you enter either the IP address or the device ID. Where do you find the device ID? You see on the part of the DVR with the QR code underneath is your device ID. So you save this code, you go back to your Add Device, and it locates the DVR, and all you do is import it to your groups, which stands for your active DVRs in your network, and you're good to go. Playback on this client software is very simple. Again, multiple DVRs. They could be in different locations. You have here your device list. Again, you can open up every channel, every DVR that's hooked up. You have a calendar search. Mike, you want to go over calendar search?
Yes, the calendar search is very simple. As you can see in the corner, the bottom right-hand corner of the calendar, you see a little triangle indicating that that date has video to view. Once you click that and hit search, you'll see on the timeline there's bars indicating, in this case we had motion recording activated and showing that motion happened at that time of the day, and the video very simply plays back.
It's like watching a YouTube video. You just drag through your timeline, you have your time of the day, and you can see different events depending on the color of the bar on the screen.
Correct.
Another great feature of this client software is emaps. So you can, what can you do with this emap?
Emaps is a very cool function that this program has. So emaps, basically you can upload a picture of or plans of the location that you have the cameras in and simply drag and drop the cameras into the place that you physically have the cameras. And as motion is detected or alarms are set off, you will see that a window will open up indicating that motion happened there and show you a live video feed of that going on. So you can have up to 4 levels of maps on one place. So if you have a multi-level location, you can add each floor.
So that's the client software. Another way to remote view this DVR is via browsers. This DVR works with most common browsers: Internet Explorer, Firefox, Google Chrome, and for Macs, the Safari browser. Here's a screenshot of the live view through a browser. You can do one DVR at a time with browser?
Yeah, one DVR at a time. Now that we have our app and our client software, it's not common that you do use the browser anymore, but it's still a function that you can use if you have to. So it's still there for everybody's need.
Okay, you see here the channels list. You can do multiple camera views. You can also change settings remotely on the browser. Here's a playback screen. So just like the client software, you have a calendar search tool with the channels, and you have a timeline on the bottom. So it's also color coded, green, red, and yellow.
So I'll just go over a few questions it looks like we had. The last question we were talking about Mac and the port forwarding, Les was still asking if that would mean still doing port forwarding on the for the Mac. Is that true or no?
No. You still are able to use the quick connect function even though you're not using the ID. It still will do the auto port forwarding for you, and using the IP address is just as effective as using the device ID.
And there's also a question about pre-alarm and post-alarm reporting. Do you want to explain how that works, Mike?
Yeah, so you have the option to select how much time of pre-recording you want once an alarm is triggered. So if motion happens, by default, it'll go back 10 seconds, and by default, we'll record 30 seconds after that. And so you can adjust those times to, I think it's in intervals of 10 seconds, 30 seconds, and then a minute to better fit your needs.
And it looks like I've got another question about printing off that EMAP to hand to an investigator to be more efficient with viewing archive video later. Is that possible, Mike?
Sure, you can. All it is basically a layout of the location indicating where the cameras are. So yeah, sure, you can print that out.
Do a print screen, put that in a PowerPoint presentation. Definitely.
Okay, so we talked about the cameras, we talked about the DVR, we talked about the software. I want to show you something that we're very excited about.
Are any of these cameras dual voltage, Ken, by the way? Or Mike?
No, we do not have any AHD dual voltage cameras right now. In the future, that might change. But right now.
So all 12 volt.
All 12 volt.
Okay.
So let's talk about our Angelo HD complete camera kits. We have camera kits available with, first of all, we have a larger selection of camera kits than anybody else out there in the market. I mean, you're talking about 4-channel DVR with 4 cameras, an 8-channel DVR with 4 cameras, which frees up 4 ports in case you want to add a varifocal camera with your complete camera kit. We also have an 8-channel DVR and 8-camera kit. And lastly, we have a 16-channel DVR with 16 cameras. We also have upgrade to varifocal lenses available. Again, contact your local distributor for availability of these kits. So that completes our webinar today.
All right.
Let's open it up again for questions.
Yeah, is there anything else we need to elaborate on, or any other questions that we need to get an answer for you? Please go ahead and type them on in. Looks like I got a question about the kits. What is all included in these 4, 8, and 16 channel kits?
So you get the cameras, DVR, and the accessories that come with it, power supply, and the cables.
I guess later on, once we upgrade our camera line to at 1080p, will they be able to work on these DVRs?
The 1080.
Right now, 1080p do not. If you use HD 1080p HD camera with a different platform, it will not work with these DVRs. We are looking into launching a 1080p line later on in the year. So by that time, yes, there's a 1080p option available.
And no, 1080p will not require
Does 1080p need Cat6 cable?
No.
If you mean 1080p live viewing via HDMI, no, you don't. I mean, you can use, for a UTP, you can use either Cat6 or Cat5. Bandwidth is not an issue with the Angelo HDs.
But yes, Coax is definitely supported, and that's what kind of our main key point is that we can use existing infrastructure with the Coax cable already in place and getting that high definition picture with our recorders and cameras.
Again, this camera line goes up to 720p resolution via Coax.
And with the kits, yes, it does include the client software with the EMAP function and free support of the applications for your mobile devices as well.
So most kits available at distributors contain an SVR 9000 AHD DVR, and that includes 1 terabyte of hard drive storage. It has the disk that contains the client software with the EMAPs and everything. Cameras, it has the fixed eyeball camera. Also, some offer the kit in a bullet fixed lens camera.
Let me just add to, if you guys do need the client software, you can always get it to you through a website, give you a website, and you can download it to your PC directly, or Mac.
We have the live demos available, so if you'd like to log on to our live demos, we can send you the software, give us your email address, and you can mess around with the settings.
So we got another question. Looks like we got some a little bit confusion on Cat5 and Cat6. Can we still use Cat5, Cat6 utilizing these cameras and DVRs?
Yes, you can use Cat5 or Cat6 using video balance. The run maxes out at 492 feet via UTP, but you can use either Cat5e or Cat6. To answer Brock's question, it will work over Cat5e.
And are any of these kits available in varifocal versions?
You have an option for varifocal cameras. Ask your local distributor for availability.
It looks like I got another question about the balins. Do we need special balins, Mike?
We do have special balins that actually do go a little farther than the floor 92. Other than that, yeah, you do need special balins to have the video.
Looks like Brock also wants to know if we can use the Bolide balins that we've been currently providing him.
As of right now, we will have them probably by early next week. We will have some balins.
So if you're talking old generation, no, but we are bringing in balins that are compatible with Angelo HD. So we'll be taking more questions. We want to thank everybody for joining us on today's webinar. Hopefully you guys learned about our newest HD camera line, the DVRs, the Angelo HD.
Looks like I got another question about our valens. Les wants to know if you said powered valens?
You can use power valens. We do have passive valens. There are passive valens as well that do not require power. Depending on the application you're using them, powered valens are going to allow you to go further than passive valens. So.
All right, well, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us on this webinar, going over our new HD line, our Angelo line. Please feel free to look up this video on YouTube. It will be posted later on this afternoon, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you on our next webinar in about a month's time or so. Thank you so much for coming.
If you have any further questions, feel free to send us an email at sales@bolideco.com.